Some careers are built over decades, but sometimes their entire foundation gets laid in just a few really crucial years. Today, we're going to dive into a fascinating memoir that shows how 2 years in Nottingham, England became the absolute bedrock for an incredible 56-year career in medicine. Let's get into how it all started.
But here's the thing. This story doesn't kick off with some big scientific breakthrough. Nope. It starts right here, with this moment of pure, raw, human frustration. Imagine, after all the success of landing this prestigious scholarship, your first real challenge isn't in a lab. It's a locked door in the cold.
So let's just picture this. A promising young doctor, he arrives in a brand new country, totally ready to change the world, only to find himself completely and utterly stuck.
So this first evening, it unfolds as one frustrating thing after another. He gets there at 6 p.m., but the office, that closed an hour earlier. A classic lesson in British timing, right? He manages to get his key, but then the main door is locked solid. He's just stranded there with all his luggage until finally, by some small miracle, another resident shows him how to get in. It's just such a powerful reminder that even the biggest journeys can start with these small, humbling obstacles.
And this quote, wow, it just perfectly captures the whole experience. That moment of being lost and then, finding a way forward, it was basically a metaphor for the entire 2 years that were about to unfold. But okay, beyond that one lonely hallway was this massive institution, the Queen's Medical Center, a truly world-class training ground where his journey was about to begin for real.
For a doctor coming all the way from Chennai, the first thing that just hits him is the sheer size of this new world. I mean, we're not just talking about a big building. The scale was on a level he had just never seen before.
And just to give you some perspective here, this wasn't just a large hospital. It was one of the largest medical centers in all of Europe. He had officially arrived in the big leagues.
And it's funny, in the middle of this immense, overwhelming place, it's the little human details that really stand out. He remembers being genuinely puzzled by the floor names, A, B, C, D, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. It's such a tiny observation, but it perfectly captures that feeling of being a little lost in a vast new environment.
So his official title, Research Fellow in Infertility, wasn't just some fancy name on a badge. No, this was a promise. It meant he was about to get comprehensive, hands-on training at the very frontier of reproductive science.
Okay, and this is where the story really takes off. He wasn't just in a big hospital anymore. He was at a hub of absolutely groundbreaking innovation.
Let's break this down for a second, because it is extraordinary. He was culturing cells to study hormones, traveling down to London for specialized microsurgery training, pioneering brand new hormone therapies for women, and get this, using one of the very first computer-assisted semen analysis machines in all of Europe. This was literally the cutting edge.
And all this work wasn't just happening quietly in a lab somewhere. Oh no. He was an active contributor, taking his own research and presenting it on some of the most prestigious stages in the entire field.
I mean, just think about that. He was presenting his work at major conferences, sharing the same space as people like Professor Robert Edwards, the man who would later win the Nobel Prize for his work in IVF. He wasn't just reading about the giants of his field in a textbook. He was in the room with them.
But amidst all of this intense, world-changing science, something even more meaningful was happening, something deeply personal that brought his entire journey full circle.
And right here, his personal and professional lives just merged so beautifully. In this perfect poetic parallel to his son's birth back in Chennai, he was given the incredible privilege of delivering his own daughter in Nottingham, in the very hospital where he was mastering his craft. And to add another layer of just profound meaning to this moment, this wasn't just any birth. His daughter was the first girl born on his father's side of the family in 3 whole generations. The personal significance of this was just immense.
And you can just feel it in his words, right? In that moment, everything just clicked. His role as a doctor, his role as a father, it all came together. And as he says, the cycle of life felt profoundly complete.
So you take all of that, and what did it all add up to? What was the lasting impact of these 2 intense, incredible, formative years?
Well, the legacy of his time in Nottingham really rests on these 3 pillars. He got hands-on experience with world-changing science. He earned professional recognition among the absolute best in his field. And he experienced that deep, personal joy of his family growing right there with him. So ultimately, this short period wasn't just a chapter in his life.
It was the entire foundation. It was this moment of incredible convergence that set him up for the next 5 decades of service in medicine. And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This story is such a powerful reminder that sometimes the most pivotal, defining moments of our careers can happen in a really short, intense period. It kind of makes you wonder, what are the foundational pillars, both professional and personal, that are truly essential for your own long and fulfilling journey?